Hello, welcome to the stream. We will begin in a moment. Okay, so it's 21 o'clock in my place and 18 o'clock in Eve time. So, hello, and let's continue with the 6th regular stream. There have been one stream between this one and the last one. I have not made it public, but it is unlisted and it is available via the playlist. The reason why it is unlisted is so that YouTube does not publish it everywhere, because it really has not so much me talking. Actually, I have not said anything. Instead, I was just hauling goods between the location where our scanner ship and explorer ship ended up and Jita. And today we are going to continue with the ship already in Jita, with the goods that we have brought from the null security space from exploration. And we will take these goods, we will sell them. And the goal of today's stream is to extract the rest of loyalty points. It will be done in a faster way than before. I have figured out a better way to extract things. And after that, we will see. It will be either a continuation of factional warfare, if it will be possible, or if there will be some delays, problems, then we will start amassing our wealth in another way by using the commodity hauling calculator to find lucrative hauls. And after that, maybe even if we get some wealth, then we will start planning our trade empire and selling things to have that sweet passive income that will actually expedite our progress to PLEX quite significantly. Okay, so let's enter the game. Today we got frigate class starship as a bonus. This means that our exploration character can now take one free, probably Kaldari frigate. But that's not really that important, because our character is already having all its needs satisfied with this Heron. And the ship will be sitting here in our inventory, and we can basically unpack it at any moment on any station and even on a citadel, as far as I know. Okay, so first of all, let's sell the goods. I have already brought them into the inventory of the station, so all we need to do is just right click, select everything and sell all, with the exception of course those NOS 25 needlejacks, because we're using them ourselves and might decide to go to null security space in the future, so we're not going to sell those. I will exclude them here by using this remove item cross. And you can see that the calculation is actually quite significantly different. So the in-game inventory tells us that we have 22 million ISK in assets, but the actual reality of selling things in Jita is that we're going to get only 17.6 after all the taxes applied and everything. Which is not ideal, but we need this cash so that we can proceed with the rest of our operations. Okay. So now we have 23 million ISK, and the way we are going to extract our loyalty points will be via the Scythe Navy issue or Scythe Fleet issue cruiser, because according to calculator, this awesome LP store calculator, it has a very good ratio between loyalty points and other costs. So basically 3/4 of its cost are just actual loyalty point expenses. And it also happens to have at the moment very good ISK per loyalty point ratio, even if we sell it in JITA to a highest buy order. Now to extract it, we will need this Minmatar UUB Nexus chip, and I have already done some checking using the EVE marketer. The best price for this chip is actually located in Minmatar region in Heimatar, but the difference is not that significant. I think we can afford just buying it in JITA, just to ensure that this price is available to us and this item is available. So let's find it in the market. And let's buy one Nexus chip. Okay, so that's the first item that we need. The second item that we need is the actual cruiser, and don't really have capacity to haul a cruiser in our cargo. That's why we are going to also save a little bit of money and at the same time haul this cruiser using the oldest trick available in EVE Online without any cargo, by just flying to the place and assembling the ship and flying it manually to the destination. And then we're going to just drop our Scythe to the destination station where we do exchange, repackage it, do the exchange, and fly back the fleet issue version already. To do that, we will need to find the location. I think the location here in Citadel will be the closest one for us. And this also happens to be the cheapest version, the cheapest place. And we will add Hack as the destination. That will be our final waypoint. So you can see that we are going to do a little bit of a detour, but it's not that bad. Yes, YouTube tells me that there are some issues with video. Has it become better now already, or is it still blurry? At least YouTube tells me that the stream status changes from excellent to poor. Let me do a quick restart of internet connection. And I will be back in 3 minutes or so. And the stream should be back online. Please let me know if you still have any issues with the quality. And yeah, to fly, we're going to actually fly this, we're going to buy a shuttle to expedite our travel. It's also very good to have a shuttle in your cargo as often as possible. Okay, I see the message that it got worse, but it's from 3 minutes ago when I disconnected the connection. At least YouTube tells me that it's fine now and have not been switching the status anymore. Yeah, and I need to restart client. Are you sure that it is not set to some lower quality setting now on your side? Okay. Well, either way, I cannot do much in addition to what I already did. According to YouTube, the quality should be fine, so you really need to check if yes. Yeah, it might be. But it definitely was some connection issue on my side before, because it was signaling low quality in YouTube Analytics, but it does not anymore. Yeah, so it seems that it could have been YouTube lagging in many places, not just here. Okay, yeah, so I'm taking the UEB Nexus with me, and I'm going to head to that OECO system. Another thing that I want to have with me are also those inertia stabilizers modules, just to speed up the travels and warp outs. And the cargo hold expander. Or two. So first of all, I'm going to check the scythe. And I'm going to check it in simulation to see how many cargo hold expanders I will need to fit the shuttle, just to have the shuttle all the time with us. So actually I think just one would be enough, and we can even buy Tech 1 version. And another important thing that we need to have all these skills bought and trained to appropriate levels so that we can actually fly the ship. So I'm going to actually buy Minimeter frigates from the market. And that was a bad choice because it was not on the station. Okay, this one. Jack skill. And now we need cruisers and destroyers. Yeah, that happens because of the way YouTube distributes content. It is possible that some directions from some servers are okay, but others are not. And finally the cruiser skill, of course, also level 1. And all this stuff, we can hide drone durability for the moment, and apply skill points to make things fast. Okay. Yeah, finally, cargo hold expanders. All skills are available. That is okay in terms of money. And inertial stabilizers. We need 2 of those, because more than 2 will have already stacking penalty, and there is not much point to do that anymore after that. What? Okay, yeah, that's a problem. Well, fine. We will have to choose something, and I would prefer to have at least 1 inertial stabilizer with us all the time instead of cargo holds. Then we can just trash the shuttle. And at least have some alignment time. Well, actually, that's quite reasonable, surprisingly. First of all, yes, if you are just starting, it might sound intimidating, but if you are coming together with a group of players, Class 2 Wormhole is really not that difficult. In fact, there are many videos on YouTube, and I think at some point I will do also one about doing some Wormhole farming with Alpha Clone. Basically, you can farm some complexes using either Gnosis battlecruiser or using the Praxis battleship. Both of them are those Society of Conscious Thought ships which don't require any skills and have basically those omni bonuses that allow you to have any type of ship or drone or missiles on them, so you don't have to be specialized in any type of you can be specialized in any type of weaponry and still use them pretty efficiently. So they are quite well rounded in that aspect. And yeah, in Wormholes they handle quite nicely classes 2 and 3. You will still need some instruction and maybe some help, assistance on how to fit your ship, but it's possible. Other than that, if you are in a group of 2-3 people, then class 2 will be just a breeze, because you will be easily able to tank each other by using remote repairing units and yeah, just kill enemies. With double the DPS from either Gnosis or the Praxis, you can easily clean them quite fast. So nothing really that you should be worried about, but it is of course your choice. You don't have to go where you don't like, and if you don't feel comfortable, many corporations usually will offer you an option to just stay behind in high security space for a while, and they will just give you an option to join them later when you have enough skill points and experience. So just tell them that you don't feel comfortable moving to Wormhole space. Also, as an alternative, they might decide to give you some extra ships just so that you don't worry about losing them in Wormhole space. Okay, that's interesting. That implies that Google does not like Microsoft Edge browser for some reason. Okay, so yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps to the system where we will have the cruiser, and once we have bought the Scythe, we will board it and head straight to the place where is our Factional Warfare character at the moment. I think we will try to exchange things in Hack, because it's closest one to Jita. There are 2 ways to reach it. By high security space you can get there in 19 jumps, and with 4 low sec jumps you can cut this by half. But those low security systems are not exactly the most calm ones. I have checked the route with GateCam checking tool, and it says that in this system mirror item there are some PvP players camping. Not exactly camping, they are using so-called smart battleships, smart bomb battleships, to instantly kill any frigate ship that is not even remotely tanked. They just are popped without being locked, because smart bombs are sort of area of effect item. And yeah, you can basically just destroy a ship flying by. Okay, at this stage we really probably can safely enter there. We will have to return back, but I hope that we are not getting popped by Triglavians. On a shuttle for sure you can enter the system. On the way back on a cruiser it might be problematic, but hopefully there will be okay. Also, Minmatar ships are quite fast and agile, so even a cruiser-sized ship will be warping out quickly. And now that we are out of Triglavian system, I will just buy it. Otherwise, if you're just starting playing, maybe a good idea is to have established income source in high security space and maybe low security space before going anywhere with any character, meaning nullsec and wormhole space. There are many activities that you can do with alpha clone, including alpha clones that have been just created a moment ago. You just need to supply them with money to basically buy a ship. So at the end of this whole operation, we should cash out already more than 60 million ISK, and we should have thus more than enough to start doing some commodity hauling. That activity is also a little bit slow on starting up if you're starting from nothing. Yeah, if online is a social place, so if you have an opportunity to play with a group, have fun playing with a group. That's always a way to go. So yeah, this is our first cruiser, and it is not a ship that you want to fly as your PvE ship, because Skies is actually a logistics cruiser. So it has bonuses to remote restoration of shields and well, this one has remote bonuses for shields, and there are also variations for different factions, for Galente and Amar, which have remote armor repairs, and for Kaldari there is also another ship that has remote shield boosters. And all of them have logistics drones to supplement basically their activities. There is not so much that they can do with logistics drones anyway, but every little bit helps in PvP. And basically this ship is just one healer. It cannot really take any damage by itself, because it cannot heal itself, contrary to many MMORPGs in EVE Online. Healers cannot be effective at healing themselves. And then for any PvP activity, logistics are just irreplaceable, because if you have a fleet of at least 4 to 5 players, then you want to have one dedicated as a logistics pilot, just to make sure that you get some damage mitigation. Logistics, even Tech 1 logistics, are quite efficient at removing and protecting your ships from incoming damage. And if you have a group of, say, 10 players, then you want to have 2-3 logistic pilots that can also heal themselves. In a small gang, you want a logistic pilot just positioned in such a way that it is never in a good convenient range of the guns of your enemy. But in a larger fleet size, it is already quite impossible, because people will have also dedicated tackling ships and so on. And yeah, you want to have some logistics core dedicated to just healing, in parallel to your main combat ships. And this ship and all logistics ships obviously have their own Tech 2 versions. These hulls that are available to Omega pilots, and after quite lengthy training, I would say, about 4 months for all skills. And those ships are basically about 2 times as good as this Tech 1 version. So if you count just the capacity for healing, then the factor is about plus 100%. And they also a lot more tanky gear and provide longer range healing and so on. Tech 1 versions are good because they are cheap. This one costed us 6.4 million ISK, and normally this hull is around 9 million ISK. At the same time, Tech 2 versions start at 200, and yeah, you also need to have Tech 2 feeds there and so on. So if you consider properly fitted PvP Tech 1 logistic ship, it would cost you around 40 to 50 million with all the fitting, and quite pimped fitting considerably, because it will use faction shield and armor transfer units just to compensate for the range and its own poor fitting capabilities. And then at the same time, the Tech 2 version will have maybe 300 million worth of everything, so fitting and the hull, so about 6 times more expensive. Logistics are usually considered to be so important for PvP fleets that people who are flying logistics are actively rewarded in many alliances, those that live in null security space at least, and those that play around PvP playstyles, so people who roam a lot and do a lot of conquering of different systems for sometimes even profit, but usually just for fun. The point is, they are valuing logistics pilots so much that some of them even provide, well, first of all, logistics compensation programs, so that if you lose your ship, the alliance will compensate you the price of that hull and modules. And secondly, they also sometimes provide additional subscription payments for people who fly actively. The drawback of flying logistic pilot in PvP is that because you are normally focused on healing, you don't do any damage to enemies, and thus you are not included in so-called relateds and PvP statistics. So even if somebody kills someone with your help, you will not be included in the report, in the combat log, unless you actively engaged with that person somehow, with the victim. And this means that you will miss on a lot of kills, and that's the main reason why a lot of people don't fly logistics. Otherwise, it is probably even more interesting role than a normal damage dealer in a fleet. So basically this ship is a self-contained package to extract our payment of 45,000 loyalty points into 61 million ISK worth of a ship. And we will have to deduct from that about 4.8 million in taxes, because we will have this 8% tax when we are going to sell the ship to players. So we should have around 60. Okay, so it will be 57 from the sale plus what we have now. So 69, maybe 70 million ISK in cash after this operation, which is more than enough to start hauling. Uedama is one of the most dangerous high security space systems, second maybe to only JITA. Uedama is now the bottleneck system that you have to cross if you are going from JITA in direction of basically any other trade hub. So Hek, Rens, Dodixie and Amar, all routes will go through Uedama system. And this Uedama system is now basically just a single spot where high security space gankers can sit all day long with their alts that are dedicated to just killing people and have negative security status, and they don't care about it because of that, because those are just alts. And yeah, they are just waiting for some valuable ships with cargo and sometimes kill people for fun. So be careful when you are flying expensive ships, especially around the Uedama system. You might want sometimes to do a little bit of protection for yourself. But of course don't ever haul expensive stuff in your cargo on a ship that does not have proper tank. So we currently have this 4.6 million, but also this ship by default has 6,300 effective hit points, which is enough to haul about 18 million ISK worth of goods, plus the fact that it is so cheap by itself that it's unlikely somebody will try to kill it. So we are okay with that. And the price of the hull doesn't count, so when we're going to get back with the other Scythe, after it's going to be converted into the fleet issue version, and it will cost already 61 million by then it doesn't matter for us, because if somebody decides to kill that ship just to get the loot from the cargo, they will destroy the ship in the process, so it doesn't give them any advantage. Other than the Uedama, basically any system that has 0.5, 0.6 rating is potentially dangerous, but that is, again, in many cases only important if you have some large bulk cargo on a not so well tanked ship, and especially one that is slow. So freighters and industrials, they are all quite vulnerable. but freighters are probably the most vulnerable ones. And of course, one important reminder that don't do that hauling. Don't go to Jita with the same character that is involved in factional warfare, because when you are in factional warfare, even though you can go through high security space relatively safely, you should not ever enter high security spaces of other factions, except for the one that is allied with you. So for Minmatars, we're okay traveling to Dodixie, for example, but going to Jita or Amar would be a big no-no. And if you are fighting on either Jita, basically Kaldari state, or Amar Empire state side of factional warfare, you crossing from Jita to Amar will involve going through either Galente or Minmatar high security space, so it is problematic as well. The only people who are happy about everything as is are those fighting for Kaldari state. So they already are in high security space that includes Jita Trade Hub. And they don't have any problems with hauling. So it will take us 7 jumps. If you are following these streams and you want to earn a little bit more ISK than what I'm doing here, you can actually do exchange of a ship such as Scythe, and instead of heading with it back to Jita, you can head directly to Amar, for example, or to Dodixie, and try to sell them there as a sell order, that is. Yes, it will take more time to get your ISK, but if you are doing it at the end of the day, basically you haul things and then deposit the ship on sell order and just return back to factional warfare character, and on the next day you start with it and play factional warfare, earn some loyalty points. There is a very good chance that your ship will be sold by the time you need to extract the next batch of loyalty points. And the difference, the margin that you get between selling things by buy order in Jita and sell order in Dodixie or Amar can be easily 10 to 15 million ISK, so that's quite significant difference. The only drawback is that, of course, you are not getting things immediately. You are not getting cash immediately, so if you need cash urgently, then you go to Jita, just like I am doing right now. And at the same time, the problem is that you are going to pay also the broker fee when you are going to set up a sell order. And you need to have money for that in advance, because brokers require money as prepayment. And it's not refundable if you decide to cancel that order, so it's a one shot. But you can, as a new player, put the sell order price quite cheap, and there is a good chance that if you undercut very quickly, because you are selling just 1 or 2 items, that somebody who is competing with you will just buy out your items and resell them at a higher price immediately. So you get your money after all. Okay, so one important thing that we will have to do would be to actually create a contract to ourselves. And to do that quickly, we need to have our name ready. And that can be done from our wallet by finding the transaction and right-clicking it and then using the name of the character to show information. We will need to contract the ship and the module, this Minmatar Nexus chip, into basically to our character so that the other character can exchange things. Okay, and we are going to deliver our ship to this Tribal Liberation Force logistic support, that is the Factional Warfare Corporation, where we can actually exchange this ship. So you don't have to do strip fitting or do anything else manually. You can just select repackage, and that will automatically extract any modules into the cargo. So you don't have to worry about that part. What is not getting extracted are those rigs, except for the Tech 3 hulls, which have special properties that rigs are not destroyed when they are extracted. And now we are going to create a contract. So right click, create contract, and we're going to select item exchange and private, and we are going to drag the icon of our character into the name field just to fill it immediately, and we need to path the Nexus chip and the scythe. Finish, yes, and quit. We will need to get our Factional Warfare character back to hack. I think it's currently in some Factional Warfare system. Okay. Yeah, and we will have 15,000 loyalty points still spare, which we cannot extract with this because this extraction requires basically 45,000 at a time. And heck. Seven jumps. Okay. We can probably mix this with some capturing, but right now here we don't have any. Yeah, this one is a captured system. It's not even really contested, and there are no large outposts. We don't really care about it. We will not get a lot of reward, but we can see if there are any systems on the way. Then we can maybe do a PLEX or two if there are no enemies nearby, just before cashing out. So this is also min-matter system. Normally when you have very high domination in factional warfare, you want to start doing agent missions in factional warfare space, because they basically are like those missions in normal space where you have security agents, but the missions are way simpler and they all happen in factional warfare areas. So basically you have chances of being attacked quite strong, and yeah, they are a little bit more fun because of that, but the missions themselves are rather simple and have reward that is proportional also to these bonuses. So we are now at tier 4, which means that payouts for those missions will be at 2.5 multiplier, just as any payouts that we can possibly get here now. Okay, actually the next system one is contested, and we are now at tier 4, so not doing anything would be a crime. Okay, and there are 3 people from other faction here in the system, probably defending it. So no, we're not going to sit here, not at the moment. I also see at least 1 person on Condor on directional scanner, which means that there is someone who can in theory mess up with our farm if we decide to. So maybe not right now. But definitely after we cash out the loyalty points, I want to go back and check the status of factional warfare in some other system, because again, tier 4 offers very huge reward multiplier. Even novice plexes at tier 4 will be offering us some ridiculous rewards. I think last time it was 17.5 million well, virtual ISK in form of 70.5 thousand loyalty points, and with this 150% that would be 25,000. So for 10 minutes plus time needed to kill trips, 25 million ISK is a very good deal. And also we need to check if there are any highly contested systems on min-matter side. Not much. This Azara is at 30% contested. Could be still worth doing, maybe. And there is also now a good chance that at some point someone will try to assemble a fleet in militia and invite people from militia to join what is called Bashin fleet. Basically destroy the final structures that controls the actual system ownership in factional warfare before the system changes ownership from one side to another. I have not ever been in such fleets. I think they should pay out some loyalty points for such activity. And while we are still in the flight, we can also already check finance contracts, and we can see that there is one contract assigned to us, and we can even accept it remotely. There is no limitation on how far and where you can be to accept a contract. You can accept contracts located in known space even while being in Wormhole. So it's a very convenient tool. And now we need to go to the Tribal Liberation Force as well. Logistics support. We will need that contract open. Since we have already completed, we can switch to finished and just keep it open so that we can get the name of our other character. So now we go to loyalty point store and we can just filter for Scythe and purchase. Actually, yeah, repackage it back. There is no need for us to have this item assembled on this character because we're going to return it back privately to our other character who will hold this to Jita and sell it there. Double checking the direction that it's our character and creating. Okay, and let's now still spend a moment to check what's happening in factional warfare. So we have already seen this Klogori system, and we can also go into a slightly different way. This forces win. We're still flying a ship that is costing us 1.3 million ISK to rebuy, so we can do that if we get killed. So we can actually fly quite risky engagements now. Although I think I have been already taking a lot of risks when I was waiting for people to fly into the factional warfare plexes. We obviously cannot kill pretty much anyone except for other novices, so there is no way for us to meaningfully engage in that content as PvP content for now. But when you will have an Omega character, training your skills to fly almost perfect frigate is actually the easiest way to do. And it is also the shortest path to real PvP at all scales if you train Frigates 5 and skills necessary to fly Racial Interceptor. The Interceptor frigate is basically the backbone of a fleet because it is required in roamings especially to basically keep things tackled and captured. So you will be flying a scout role at that time. Okay, I need local back. And this is a large system, so we get out of our warp capacitor. Basically out of normal capacitor charge because it uses it for warping. There are skills that help with that, obviously, as well, that increase your capacitor size, primarily, and decrease the amount of capacitor required for warping certain distances. But in larger systems, like Terra, for example, you will still have the need to do multiple warps, basically. And maybe not even a single time. And the situation gets worse if you are flying a ship that has passive shield tanking modules, because passive shield tanking quite often comes at the cost of capacitor regeneration, so your capacitor will be very, very slow to recover. Okay, that's a lot of ships. Who are you? So that's Ushrakan, and then some other corporations and alliances. Okay, just a lot of different people here. I wonder if when we're going to get into this Flosses win, we're going to see, oh yeah, a defensive fleet. Okay, no. That's definitely not the way for us to fight. So let's go the next one. And maybe even head towards some system that is as far away from here as possible, because it's probably going to be like focus point currently. So let's head towards this Usanen system. Yeah, just from the local I can say it will be hot here quite soon. There is a catalyst in this system, probably an ally. So we can actually try checking out the novice outpost. Make a safe spot on the process, as usually. Yeah, the catalyst is somewhere nearby, but it doesn't really matter, because catalyst cannot enter this complex, regardless. Now there is a 3 stun on directional scanner. And it disappeared. Probably this Minka, Snegorinka, whatever. Keep at range the outpost. Shut down the afterburner once we are in range. And just stop. This actually looks like this person is a miner, but it's never such a bad idea to just double check their kill board. It actually looks like they are doing some PvP. So let's keep track of the D-scan. Looks more like camping rather than any other sort of activity, and yeah, maybe even a fleet fight for some objective. Okay, +1 enemy in local, and Griffin Navy issue. Okay, that's not good. I'm going to stop the ship. Okay, and be ready to warp out. Yep. Nothing changes. Okay, it's gone from the outpost at least. Hecate and Revenant. The beacon is located 300,000 kilometers. That's quite a lot, but that's actually the range that we want to set our directional scanner to check if there is anybody in the gate range. Whoa. That is a factional carrier, or even mothership maybe. I would not say what associations I have about this ship. Most Sansa ships looks quite similarly. But it's a nice ship, and a very expensive one. Maybe if you want to go in Eve, you want to have this kind of ship rather than a Titan as your end goal, and I have done Eve and passed, and it's game over for me as a goal. Because Titans are so basic. And you really cannot do much with Titan alone. With such a ship as Revenant, you can do some things. You definitely can use them to farm in safe locations. Okay. Another enemy. It's interesting that the guy who decided to enter our complex to just mess with our farming did not go for the catalyst, wherever it is. Well, where you are currently. I think the first goal in Eve for many players is to just get to Omega status and get enough skill points in their character so that they can use this Omega and skill extraction trick to just pay for their Omega accounts relatively cheaply. And then establishing a stable income around 100 to 300 million ISK per hour, depending on how you count, rather than what you do. And yeah. After that, just doing some PvP, I guess. Since If Online is a sandbox game, you really have a lot of troubles finding goals. So if you are not good at establishing goals for yourself, then maybe If Online is not a very good game for you. But CCP definitely did some work in that direction. There are now those opportunities and different ways that the game tells you that you want to do this and this now, and not just sit in one place. So you mean that you are paying subscription with real money? Because as far as I recall, ice mining is not possible for alpha clones. Well, are you interested in doing more industry or doing more mining? Because you can do more mining. You can just have more characters, like 10, 20 boxes. There are people who basically rule mining with having just more than one account at the same time, and it turns into a quite interesting management game. And a lot of click fest. So it's not as relaxing anymore at that stage. And then if you have like 3-4 accounts, you might want to specialize one to provide you bonuses. Then your goal would be to have a bonus character, first with Porpoise, and then with Orca, and then finally with Rorqual. Well, mining is the most multi-boxing activity in EVE Online. That's something that you should consider before continuing with mining. But at the same time, if you are doing something else, like watching films and playing other games, there is even a standing joke in EVE community that EVE Online is less about playing EVE, but more about games that we play while playing EVE. So yeah. What do you do when you don't mine? Okay. Well, that's also an option, obviously. One thing, though, that you might need to consider is that basically skill extraction and paying Omega with real money still means that you are, well, you even with skill extraction you still pay some 300 million ISK per month, basically, in form of Plex. And yeah, then the question is, do you earn 300 million ISK from mining ice during the month? Because if you don't, then maybe you don't have you don't want to do that. At least don't do that with Omega clones. A lot of new people. And Revenant is still here, doing something somewhere. Probably on one of those control towers. Okay. Reaper is actually elusively dangerous, but it might be dangerous. I have missed that Doctor Who event. I have been busy with other stuff in real life. I hope you enjoyed it. Although I personally, being a fan of Doctor Who, cannot imagine a very good crossover between EVE Online and Doctor Who. There is still too much difference in the foundations between these two universes, I would say. I cannot imagine TARDIS in the liquid vacuum of EVE Online. Well, you don't have to go through that one low-sec system. If you are okay with taking just extra time, then you can haul via high security route. Since you don't have to do that every day, or even multiple times a day, then what's the problem? Sure. If you are limiting yourself to just like the most expensive goods, Sunesis is just great. I mean, even if you haul in high security space, it's extremely good because you can, so long as you don't go AFK mid-flight, you can safely haul any amount of ISK. That's very big. Like nowadays, even freighters cannot do that. Freighters are very limited. And I think official freighting companies in EVE Online like Red Frog issued recommendations to their pilots that they cannot anymore do flights via this Uyedama system without using second screen with instant webbing. That is a special technique that allows your freighter to basically skip this 25-35 second alignment time, which they usually have, and which makes them extremely vulnerable. Other than that, Sunesis got no nerfs. It is still just, yeah, just awesome. And just overpowered, I would say. Of course, if you are having Omega, what you can do instead of Sunesis, and what can help you, maybe, fly covertops cloaked ships like Astero, for example, or learn Attack 2 Industrial that is specializing in those covertops cloaking devices. I think they're called blockade runners, and those ships basically provide you very similar level of protection as Sunesis. They are maybe slightly slower, but they also have more industrial level cargo, like 20,000 cubic meters I think is possible in some of them at least. So not with Astero of course, but Astero is the instant way, the easiest way to get into cloak chips nowadays. Otherwise, Astero is basically vulnerable only to the same things as Sunesis, so smart bombs and you go in AFK. Okay, so it's only us and this Revenant person anymore. Now in local there are just 2 people, so quite calm, and hopefully we will get this PLEX done with another 25 million ISK arriving to our account. Although we will not be able to cash them out immediately, we will still need to spend another roll of PLEX to get like 25,000 more, and that it will be enough to extract. I can see your message. I wonder if it is really the best time to just Plex in factional warfare at the moment, because so many people are focused on those strategic systems, and we can do partisanship behind the lines and prepare some more systems for hacking and capturing in the future. So far it seems so. Although Tuesday doesn't sound to me like a very PvP active day. So maybe just a coincidence. What is our standing with the Tribal Liberation Force at the moment? 0.47. Okay. So we need maybe 10 more complexes done before we get a promotion and first reputation with faction. The problem is, as I told you, with this tier 4, you want to do missions, but we don't have yet standings with this corporation to take any missions of any reasonable level, so it is a little bit problematic for us. If there are not so many systems that we can target, then it gets really, really sad. But on the other hand, we get a lot of rewards with tier 4. The multiplier is just great. Okay. And we got 25,000 loyalty points. And our timer is almost out, so again, since there are no other novice outposts here at the moment, we will just log off on the safe spot. That's very interesting way of naming your ship, by basically telling everybody else what you have there. And yeah, so let's go on with trading while our system is being prepared for the next complex. And we can mark the time. I think it's best to check in about 15 minutes if there has been any response here. Hi, welcome back. Today I'm finally getting out a lot of money from factional warfare, and without a lot of pain of hauling small batches of goods. I'm found a way to extract a lot of things at once with Navy issue ships. So finance contracts, I have already delivered the hull and the secondary item that is necessary, and I already exchanged the Scythe, the standard one, onto a Navy issue version. Yeah, and I need Minotaur Cruiser, of course, level 2 for this version because it's slightly more advanced, but that's not a problem. And apply skill points, 5, 8, 2, 2, and now we can fly it. The benefit of this approach, yeah, look at that coloring and paint job. It's now ready to find space grass. Okay, yep. The point is that when you are extracting ships, you get very good ratio. Between loyalty points involved in the deal and other investments that you need to make, like items, hulls, ISK, and so on. In this particular case, we have 45,000 loyalty points and about 12 million ISK involved. And we are going to get 61 million minus taxes in return. I didn't assume that you want money, honestly. The point of me, well, not so much raffling anymore, but more like giving out some small batches of ISK to new players, is because I want to help new players to kickstart their gameplay as fast as possible, so that they don't have to spend the time doing this very slow accumulation of starting capital. The first 100 million ISK is probably the hardest. I don't have standing, but it is Tribal Liberation Force, the Minmatar Factional Warfare Corporation. I honestly think that CCP should a little bit ramp up their game and make not this 500,000 ISK payout after 2 hours of gameplay, and definitely more ships and ISK involved as payouts in the starting missions to motivate players and give them more capital again to begin with. But for some reason CCP decided to even nerf this commodity hauling by increasing the tax rate. So if you are an alpha account, it hurts. It really hurts. But I think when I started doing this tool, it was originally 5% tax, so between 5% and 8% it's not so bad. But I think it cuts off maybe quarter to 1/3 of profits that you can get from there. And of course trading goods between hubs is something, yes, you get this 8% tax increment as well, but on the other hand you still paid brokerage fees, so it's not that bad anymore, and the margin between JITA and Damar is so huge that you still get, say, 15 to 20% profit on every deal, and it accumulates very quickly. And the important thing is that because these sales and taxes, they are basically the same for all players, except for the difference between alphas and omegas. Not even all omegas have all the skills necessary to reduce those taxes. So everybody recognizes now that, yeah, there is just higher price that needs to be paid on those secondary hubs, and they are okay with that most of the time. So yeah, we have 12.8 million ISK in balance, and we are flying a ship that is, according to the in-game valuation, is worth about 69 million ISK, and we can sell it in JITA for 61 minus taxes. So that's quite quick way of transferring ISK. And once you have any kind of holding established, either Sunesis or this fast industrial for commodity hauling, in this case it could be probably Wrath, you will have the capacity also to do hauling for yourself. So these 90 jumps will no longer be such a big issue. I guess the worst part is obviously like trying to start for Amar Factional Warfare. That would be really painful, because you will have to do those 40 plus jumps all the time to haul things out of the Amar Factional Warfare, but maybe needs checking. There is a chance that some Factional Warfare station in high security space may be on the other side of the nullsec gap. Oh, sorry, not nullsec, low security gap. So there is basically a gap between all empires that you can cross, and as you have seen in other videos, the gap between JITA and Amar in reality is just one low sec system. But if you are playing it safe, and if you don't go to that low sec system to avoid all the risks of being ganked or smart bombed, then you have to take a route around for 50 jumps. And because they are really so close, there is a chance, and because again, Caldari and Damar are actually friends and allies, there is a chance that there is some station that belongs to Amar Factional Warfare closer to Jita than 50 jumps, way closer. But I need to check that. There is definitely, there are definitely stations and corporations for which you can do normal security missions that are located like that. So I have been doing missions for, let me check. So Amar Empire. I think it was Imperial Armaments. It is one of the industrial corporations which allow you to cash out your loyalty points with blueprints, which have much better loyalty point to ISK ratios than normal military payout systems that you get in all other non-blueprint factions. The drawback of those of the blueprint ones is that they don't have level 5 security agents, and that means that you cannot have a very high output loyalty point farm in low security space at level 5s. Yes, that's true. Smart bombs are the only real risk for Sunesis, and that's why you want to keep it as tanked as possible. On the other hand, you can check the Z-kill board, for example. There are not so many Sunesis deaths from smart bombs, really. So I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused now. There is a chance that you are commenting on something that I have said a couple of minutes ago. Not yet. But the point of this series is to basically do the benchmarking and test all opportunities, and after that I will make first of all a compressed version to highlight the key points, and then I will also make a factional warfare video specifically to just explain all the core mechanics that are involved there. I'm also wondering if at some point I will be able to make some kind of really speed run of EVE Online from Alpha to Plex. But yeah, that will probably require restarting from scratch and not doing the same mistakes again. For example, not skipping the tutorials. Because apparently tutorials are the best way to start for maybe first 2 or even 3 hours of game. Yes, the problem is that I have done those tutorials in a relatively quick manner. I think that I have made only a couple of mistakes that costed me maybe 30 minutes tops extra time, and it still was like 4 or 5 hours to achieve those 15 millions. I mean, that's very important starting capital. Definitely, if you can have these 15 millions and then go straight to farm loyalty points in factional warfare, and then use loyalty points to check out something like Scythe, then yeah, that would be probably the fastest way to achieve first 100 millions, but it will still take 6-7 hours at least. That might be interesting, but definitely needs more people. Well, that depends. Standings are a good thing if you are at all interested in running missions, or if you are interested in getting standing with some specific corporation. For example, if you want to establish a trader on Jita or a trade hub, then ideally you want to have some standing with a corporation that owns that station, because it gives you some small additional discount with broker fees. But other than that, standings are pretty useless and sometimes even harmful, because if you have no standings, then your character does not count, for example, in corporations standings. So you can have a character that has literally no standings to anyone, and you join the corporation, the standings of corporation don't change. And that might be a corporation that already has a few characters with maxed out standings that enable you jump clone installation in NPC stations. Those were huge before the Citadels came out, obviously, because those were the only way to install jump clones. Nowadays it's not so much of a problem, and I really don't know if somebody cares yet, but, well, who knows. Standing might hurt you joining the factional warfare on the side you want. If you do, for example, factional standings with Minmatar, that will drop your standing with Amar and Kaldari. And if you planned to join Kaldari's side or Amar's side, then you will not be able to. That's the problem. Even if you have just a very, very, very small minus, it blocks you from joining factional warfare, and you will have to do some mission running for that side, do 16 missions, get storyline mission, correct your factional standing with storyline mission. One thing that those missions are really good for, if you are just starting playing EVE, they might explain you some mechanics and some gameplay styles like exploration and those mini games with hacking and analyzer. Those are actually something. How did it go, Ninja Mining? Are you using Venture in some nullsec? I guess Ninja Mining is a secret. Okay. Okay. Well, I wonder how much you can get from there. And I bet there is a lot of logistic problems with extracting the ore from low security space. Although you can compress it probably, if you have some Freeport Citadel nearby that you can trust. Then it's not so much of a problem. I have seen one streamer going with not Venture but Prospect, the Tech 2 version with Cloak, that goes. They went to null security space, and inside that null security space they found metaliminal storm. I think it's gravimetric storm, and inside that gravimetric storm there is basically bonus to mining, about 20% speed boost to mining cycles, and additional belts and everything. But yeah, it was still not even remotely profitable. It was like 8 million ISK an hour. Well, if you find it fun, it doesn't matter how much you earn. That's true. So and sell immediate to make sure that we don't pay any broker fees. Yeah, 56.3 million ISK for a scythe. Very nice. Finally have a lot of cash. Okay, let's check what's the status of the factional warfare system. If we can make another novice Plex today, that would be awesome. If not, we will do some training. Sorry, there is a huge delay. But do you mean that setting it up for a contract sale and waiting for it to be sold? Because if you suggest that, then you will still probably have to pay this 8% tax. I think it works also for contracts. And we don't pay brokerage fee, and there is already a deal. The only question is if there is somebody buying it. Yeah, but taxes are charged also on contract sales. No. If you are setting up a real price, not just some fake small number when you are trading between alts, you will pay 8% of the sale value. So that side doesn't change. The broker fee you can save, yes, of course, but again, we don't pay it at the moment. Okay, still the same guy in Revenant. And okay, there are no complexes yet. So 20 minutes is not enough for it to respawn. No, definitely there are no compensations for sales tax. I can probably check if there have been any contracts actually for skies. So there are people buying blueprints of them, and there are people selling skins. And somebody sells one in low security space. Yeah, no buyers. And us selling here is probably going to take a lot of time anyway. You mean Sky's Tech 1? That's possible, but I don't think that's worth the time. I don't think that a lot of people actually buy them. Also, I think we will need... No, we actually do have one science drop slot. But yeah, we will need to invest at least the money, the price of that BPO. This all might be a good idea if you are doing factional warfare for a long time and you know which items you need, like ammunition and those ships. Then you can actually save a lot of money and earn basically in such with these savings if you build your own Tech 1 versions. Well, I think there are faster ways to do 80 millions even as alpha. But again, if somebody does want to do industry, why not? I am currently not focusing on that because I'm more interested in managing trading, and I think it is slightly more profitable. Yes, it will take you quite a lot of clicking to change orders. It's maybe more interesting to have like multiple characters, each training different blueprints. That's definitely possible and not forbidden by anything in if. But again, industrial management is something that actually takes surprisingly a lot of time. So it needs to be calculated if it's worth the time you spend clicking. Okay, let's do some trading after all. So first of all, I want to check what is available for us in the commodity hauling. I will be looking from JITA immediately, and I will be using this short list, which seems to be best with current settings. And I will need industrial ship. Stack 2 cargo holds. And then rigs. Tech 1 versions. 16.4. Oh. And then shield extender. I will definitely check them out, but probably not right now. And yeah, if it is something interesting to do, I will definitely share this information. So thank you. Well, some people want to do, but they don't have slots available because all of their characters are busy right now and they need this item immediately because of some urgent production. And then at the same time, 1 million is really so small price that I bet many just don't care. I will be fitting this with as passive fit as possible. And maybe just one invulnerability field multi-spectrum shield hardener. Okay. This seems to be better. Or maybe even two of them. So that would put us, yeah, definitely not very tanky ship. I need to check those fits. I don't recall how to fit an industrial. Okay, now I recalled what I wanted to do with this. Definitely not cargo hold optimizations. Yeah, that was hyperspatial velocity optimizer. I think two of them, and then cargo hold. Maybe one. Would it be? Yeah, this probably is okay. Yeah, but that's a hauler, and yeah, the main time is spent in warp, not aligning after all, so this should be okay. Let's try. I actually have not flown Badger in the videos that I have been doing before. I have been basically using Wrath as the main hauler, and yeah, that's why align time might feel a little bit slow. So updating our sizes, it will be 14,300. The calculations don't go very fast if you alt tab, because JavaScript gets slowed down, I think. Okay, so immediately the fastest route would be Holorails. Why? It's actually 8%. I think the tool actually accounts for this. So the profits you see, they should include already the tax. If it doesn't, then there is a bug. Well, yeah, but you might miss some more lucrative deal. The problem is that if you are setting up extra tax rate, then basically you significantly reduce profit margin of one goods, but not so significantly of the others, because the margins between them are not equal. Some goods have higher margin, some have smaller. And you can see even here we have a lot of variation. So there are systems that are further away but have slightly less, like 5% less price, and this would be more lucrative if you increase the tax rate. Thank you. I tried actually talking to new players in help channel when I first started the YouTube channel, and yeah, some people sticked with the channel, but in most cases it was not so relevant at that point, so I just decided to go on with more information first. And I guess people can just share this information themselves. Okay, so Hull Rails. Just double checking that we are doing things right. Where is the chat? Some things in EVE Online interface are always annoying, like inability to properly copy paste the solar system name is one of them. Because you get this extra information about the in the URL like format. Okay. And we need this many items. And from there, okay, it just tells us to go back to the same system that we are in now and repeat this route. The new sound effects are very satisfying. I mean, I have not been enabling those warp in, warp out sound effects for a while, but now I have re-enabled them and they are so nice to listen to. So many buzzing. After we deliver this batch, I will check again the factional warfare. Oh, so competition now. No worries. Yeah, there is one problem with hauling. That is, the more people know about hauling, the less people earn from hauling. But in a way, that's true for any activity in EVE Online. If you know how to earn a lot of cash, you probably have learned about some really profitable exploit of game mechanics. Not necessarily offensive to EULA, but something that nobody has come up to yet, and yeah. Well, yeah, Sonesis actually might be more profitable than what I'm doing now. For a simple reason that with Sonesis you probably will try to find and sell VTOC. Okay, the most expensive one. And yeah, this ship actually can be made to warp faster with inertial stabilizers, but I am a little bit lazy to carry spare ones at the moment. Mm. YouTube statistics are something crazy. I know that you are here. There are 2 people in the chat writing actively, but currently YouTube statistic tells me that there is just 1 person watching the stream. I don't know how it's possible. But their accounting for people doing something is just ridiculous. Okay, so there is new novice outpost. Definitely worth doing. And yeah. Some recent kills. Not in this system, I think, but nearby. Yeah, actually, snitching very lucrative deals is actually a decent income stream for new players. But yeah, you need to know what is expensive and what is not, and which things you can easily find and which easily sell after you buy them. And then you still need to fly around and pick things up, so it might be not so easy to explain for a person who just starts the game. But if you find some deals, that's great. And I think it's actually possible that some players will just sell out whatever they have in some hangars periodically, because people try to migrate between stations, between agents as they progress through the game, and sometimes they leave behind a large stash of items that they promise themselves to pick up one day, and they never do, because there is no need for that. And yeah, I have been looking at the wrong chat. I thought that that was local. Yeah, well, again, we had this weird disconnect today, so it's possible that YouTube has some issues. It doesn't really matter. I think the statistics of watch time and stuff like that get updated eventually. Yeah, after this Plex, whether we are going to succeed in capturing it or not, I will do today's raffle, and that's probably going to be all for today. And the next one will be, I guess, again on Saturday. There might be a surprise stream during the week, but I don't think that I will have time to organize it. As money goes, we currently have where's loyalty point? 39,000, so 39 million plus 65 million, or about 73 million total assets in the other character. So we are now safely above 100 million ISK. And if we get this frigate done and this Plex done, then it will be another 25. I think at around 200-250 million ISK, it is going to be already worth our time to start hauling things between the margin and Jita in Sunesis. Because if you consider the margin being around 10 to 50% per trip, if we invest 200 million there, that will be 30 million per trip. And 20 minutes of travel in Sunesis. Yeah, that's also interesting that it says to me now that there are 3 concurrent viewers in one place. There are 2 concurrent viewers in the other place. And yeah, now it's 3 again also. But the thing is that I definitely have seen more people, and I know for certain that there is at least one more person than you three watching, so it should be at least 4 as a minimum. Weird things happen. After all, YouTube is not the best platform for streaming, I guess. Maybe eventually I should return back to Twitch account and just make streams there and copy videos here with whatever tools they have there. Maybe. Technically you can pause the stream and still write in the chat. It's possible, yes. Or knowing how YouTube behaves, it is more likely, and the most likely reason is that it is just bugging. There have been a lot of fun things going on with views and likes that I learned in this year about. You wouldn't believe things. Like, there was an exploit, and it's probably still possible to do that. I don't know, I have not tested it recently, but there was an exploit that allowed you to use mobile client of YouTube to basically spam likes and dislikes at the same time with some clicker application, and that would basically allow a single person to give more than one like, more like 50s, hundreds of likes, and at the same time generate somewhat similar, sometimes smaller, sometimes larger amount of dislikes. And the net would be maybe around 0, but the point is that YouTube counts all interactions, positive and negative, as something good about video. So I think Spiff and Brit was actually using this bug, and that's where I learned about it. Yeah. Firetail. Nearby. Let's align. Friendly, but I don't trust people anymore. Especially those that are in a Republic Firetail with 14 days of history. I mean, nah, that's an alt. And the only reason why you want to have an alt in factional warfare is probably to kill other people. Let's see their history. Yeah, a lot of kills. But actually, well, one friendly fire kill. No, that's a loss. So no friendly fire kills. That's good. That maybe means that it's safe not to warp out with this person in the same Plex. Either way, we can return to the outpost since we don't see anybody on the scanner. Garmur. Garmur can enter, I think. Yep. Yeah, Spiffenbrit managed to do amazing thing with that particular clicker for one of their videos, so it was really fun to watch. Not funding you. They actually have tier 1, so for them even defending the stuff is not really that profitable with even 40% vulnerability rate. Yeah, it's quite dangerous ship. I wonder if I can come up with some counter killer frigate that is not so obvious and maybe make a bait for that person. The problem is that with this calculation is that you need to account for the tax rate, and probably, so you probably have bought a sell order in Jita and sold it in Amar to buy order, right? In such case, you only need to account for the sales tax. But if you didn't, if you bought from a sell order and then flown and set up a sell order yourself, then you also need to account for broker fee. And I think actually 8% and even 3% with perfect skills. Did you actually make a profit on that? Yeah, the best way to make them go is to log off for a few minutes and then continue with the outpost. And we can hold in the process. Yes, sure. Again, the best way to profit from such deals is to make sure that you can actually utilize those items in some way. So you buy them and convert them into something else, like what I did with the Scythe. But other than that, if you see a good deal and if it's worth your flying, sure, why not? Oh, by the way, while we are flying, actually, let's make a raffle. So I will change the chat again in subscribers mode. Done. And now only subscribers can write the names of their characters in game to participate in the raffle. If there are less than 3 people participating, then I will just pay out 100 million to each person writing in the chat. If there are more than 3, then you will have to join the channel. I will send you an invite. I wonder if I can join it. Let's make it. Yeah, whatever. Okay. 1, 2, at least 3 people. That's good. And we will be gathering people until the end of the next trade. So I'm now flying to Yosemento. I will buy hollow reels, hold them back to the system where I can sell them. And everybody who is in the channel by that time will participate. So if you are not subscribed, you still have opportunity to do that. And in 5 minutes, you will be able to write the name of your character. It's useful when you are doing this hauling to add things to quick bar. That saves a lot of time. Okay, and character. Yep, looks quite good. Fast and cheap and should never go AFK. That is the most important part about it. The calculator. wrong volume, wrong item. Okay, so 3 more jumps, after which I will actually basically give out 100 million ISK to people, because at the moment we have only 3 participants. If there will be someone else, then we will get to raffle. Uh, 100 million ISK, same. I just don't see a way to split, to basically try splitting 3 prizes between 3 people with a random number generator. It kind of makes no sense. That's a small bonus for trade capital. I wonder at some point this character might start earning 300 million ISK between streams, so it will become self-sufficient. Probably quite soon. That's possible. Maybe not the full Plex, like not full subscription price at least, but if you consider skill extraction, if you are above 5 million skill points, then definitely possible to keep attending the streams and get subscription. At the moment, I think that it will be like 2 streams a week, so 8 streams a month. 800 million is in theory. Well, I don't give out to everybody. I cannot afford that, sorry. But if there will be more people, there will be raffles, and the same 3 prizes will just go to random people who participate. Well, how long are you playing? How much time it took you to get to the skill level required for abyssals? Okay, so since there are no more participants, let's return chat to its normal state. And finally, I will relog to the character that has money. Okay, and there is also one more person. So, congratulations to Millitrillion, Johnny the Dice, and Bangotur Mangeri. I will give you all 100 million ISK. So, transfer corporation cash. Yep. Please check that money got to the destination. What happened here? Yep. Looks okay. And thank you for participating. Let's get back to our factional warfare character and check if other players are done and we can complete the PLEX finally. Okay, the local is almost clean. But now I'm wondering if that outpost is free, because we're quite far away from it and we don't see it on the directional scanner. Yep, it's possible that it has been taken by this Soda V. Okay. I guess then that will be all factional warfare for today, because yeah, the Plex is already taken. Well, it's not that difficult to beat ice mining. That's true. No, I don't think it will be possible to get it in 1 month, but 2-3 months is definitely feasible. The problem is that I don't play that often, and I want to have streams, so yeah, it is a little bit of a conflict of interest, but definitely within like 100 hours of gameplay. So let's check. It tells that there are good routes for spirits from this system. Interesting. It actually might be so that there is sort of a triangle going on here that can be actually quite profitable. So I will do this one more trip for spirits for today, and that will be all for today's stream. And let's see how we can proceed in the next one with our cash and factional warfare. Why don't you hold while stream is going on? I usually have some video of something in background to watch and listen to while the ship is flying normally. So if it was not for the stream, I would have been watching something instead of talking. Oh, believe me, there is a lot that you can buy, not exactly in the starting location, but in the systems that are, well, where there are those starting career agents. There is a lot of different frigates and industrial ships that are basically everything that is given out as reward for those missions. There will be a lot of stuff. Yeah, but yeah, commodity hauling you can do it just in another area, and you will not compete. and we are playing this realistically, you know, so that people who are watching this later will know that, yeah, it's possible that some orders will be undercut and taken by other players. But the way this commodity holding tools trading, the process itself works, you basically have like double of what is on the offer. So you buy the first batch in full, you buy it out, and then you will still have the same batch at a slightly less advantageous price. And only when you buy out two completely, then the price will drop significantly. So if there are two people doing the same thing, if they are below this batch size, so they don't buy more than one batch at a time, then they don't compete even. Yeah, actually, that was also my motivation why I started this channel and why I started playing Alpha, because I wanted to check how well you can actually trade with Alpha account. Turns out you can trade very well. And yeah, there is a lot of opportunities for that. Well, as you can see, there are multiple orders per system for spirits and for everything. So again, even if you do the same route at the same time, the difference will not be that bad. And it will not make things completely unprofitable or harm the process of running it so badly. Of course, eventually there will be some saturation, especially if two people are exactly in the same place, but then two people rarely do the same choices if they don't discuss them ahead of time. Okay, how many spirits? This much. Oh, I see. That's limited not by volume, but by the price. 67 million. I can hold more. No? I mean, that gets weird. I don't get why it doesn't offer me to buy more of those. Oh, now I remember why. It was almost a mistake, but I can fix it still. So I can still buy maybe 20,000 more. Nah, almost. Okay, yeah, I overbought a little bit of spirits and probably lost a lot of margin. But I am now holding more than the tool suggested, because the tool, when it calculates, it takes a single batch. So when we are going to get to this Yosemite system, there will be a buy order of this size. But when we are going to cover that buy order, there will be yet another one immediately available. So we can actually hold 71,500 at the time, not just 45,000. Just a small hint. If you like ninja mining, you probably want to check out exploration, really. Especially exploration in storms is just like the riskiest activity you can do, or wormholes. Unless you're, of course, annoyed by the scanning process itself. Because scanning might be a little bit daunting. Do you mean you don't have skills? Because the skills are now, for alpha account, most of the skills are actually available at start, and you need, I don't know, like 150,000 skill points to just train everything that is available for alpha. So 2 days tops. And you still can do a lot of that stuff. I have another account that I run with my main characters. One of them is currently in alpha state, so I have a trained character, but most of the skills are blocked. And I have sent that scanner with Heron into the depths of Syndicate. So one of the pockets in Syndicate is quite enough for me to just sit there and once in a while, like once a week, just undock, scan nearby systems, and if there are relics data sites, do them, return loot into that station, and just sit there. Every now and then there is also a wormhole directly to high security space, so loot can be extracted and new herons can be brought in. Very nice way to scanning. I think the same can be done with Instain, and maybe Stain will be even more profitable, although it is way more populated. And if you are looking for a specific nullsec to check out, I suggest using Terra as entry. You can basically have exits located for you by Eve scouts. So the menu for today is, for example, like this. You can get an exit in Stain, in Faith Abolist, Tenerifis, in Gaminate, and then just check those wormholes if they are near the location where you want to check out. Well, sitting in just random null-sec system is a little bit more complicated because you really don't want to accumulate all the loot on your ship. Maybe you can get away with having a storage container deployed in basically on a safe spot, and another character that will be just logging into that location and looting the stuff and storing it internally so that nobody can get to it even if you die. Okay, immediate. Not everything will be sold, of course. And sell. And sell again. Okay. So that will be all for today. Thank you for joining. I will certainly have a stream on Saturday. Also around, well, that would be maybe right after the downtime, maybe a little bit later. I will post a notification as usual. And if I will be in a mood to make another stream during the week, then I will make another posting at least one day before that, so you don't have to wait. If you check channel regularly, then you will see the notice. Other than that, thank you for coming and hope this was useful to you, and see you later. Fly safe.